Good morning everyone and welcome back to the Pierce Family channel. If you're new here, my name is Jade and I'm a first-time mom to 8-month-old Isaac. And today I'm going to be giving out a few tips for other first-time moms. I've talked a lot about the bad advice I've gotten and the hardest things about being a first-time mom to a newborn, but none of that is actually all that helpful. You obviously know you're going to have to feed and change a baby, but it's almost impossible to understand all that's involved before they're actually here. My first tip is just to remember that they are tiny humans, and that means they will have their own preferences and differences from the very beginning. Don't get too hung up on what you're supposed to be doing and try more to focus on the baby you actually have. No matter how many books you read or how many plans you make doesn't mean your baby will go along with any of that. Isaac, for example, loved being swaddled when he was a newborn, but there are lots of babies who absolutely hate it. And just the opposite of that, most babies like pacifiers, but Isaac would never and still won't take one. I had to learn that Isaac preferred being held upright. You just have to learn what your baby likes. Some things will just be trial and error. You find out your baby likes being bounced, but hates the swing you bought them. All babies are different, and you'll just have to become more confident over time as you learn what your baby likes and how to soothe them. Everything is a learning process for both of you. Your baby literally has to learn how to fart. Seriously. You'd think that'd be one of the things that just comes to them naturally, but no. Their bodies actually have to figure out how to coordinate the muscles to do it properly. I would say not to worry about learning how to swaddle your baby or change their diaper or clothes or anything like that before they're born, because if you're having your baby at the hospital, the nurses will teach you all of that. In the hospital where I gave birth, all of them just seemed so happy to be around newborn babies in general. So they were super happy to help with literally anything. And when you're first coming home, don't worry about having activities set up for your newborn baby. Just staring at a wall is plenty of stimulation when they're newborns. There are certain things you can do, like print out pictures just in black and white, because that's all they can really see, and they love that monochrome and that contrast, but they just like looking at the picture. So don't go out and buy $500 worth of newborn activities, because likely they're not going to like any of them. Now, this isn't necessarily what's recommended, but we didn't even start doing tummy time with Isaac until he was about a month old. But it does become very important for them strengthening their neck muscles and learning how to hold up their own head, which just makes life that much easier. And when we did start, it was really only for about 5 minutes at a time, because that's all he could take before he was super frustrated and just ready to be held again. If you can't do it mentally, keep a list on your fridge of reasons why your baby might be crying. And each time they seem inconsolable, just go down that list. Hungry, tired, overwhelmed, hot, cold, their clothing is irritating them, they need a new diaper. It is a lot to keep track of. The first thing I would always do would be to check if he was hungry. If your newborn baby just woke up, it's likely because they are hungry. If he's just sitting there banging his head into your chest, it's probably because he is hungry. If I would try and feed Isaac and he didn't really seem interested, we would move on to the next thing. Next, I would check his diaper. If it was dirty or wet, I would change it. If he was still upset, I would check to see if he might be hot or cold. This is really important because newborns can't regulate their own body temperature, so you have to control the environment around them to do it for them, whether that's through your thermostat or just a change in wardrobe. Is he sleepy or is he overtired? If he's been awake for any amount of time as a newborn, the answer is yes. Is he bored? Does he want to play, or does he just want to snuggle with you? Sometimes it boils down to your newborn just wanting to be near mom. That's the smell they've recognized for 9 months, and it's the only thing they recognize in this new world they're living in. So really, they just want something familiar. If, like me, newborn life made you feel like your brain was seeping out your ears and your previously flawless memory is now nowhere to be found, get a baby tracking app. There are absolutely loads of them on any app store. I think I just downloaded the first one that I saw, but it tracked things like sleep, eating, changing diapers, really anything you wanted to. There are fancier ones that keep up with everything, like from monthly updates to first milestones, but what I needed was just something to track what was going on day to day, because I literally couldn't think half the time. Before your baby reaches their birth weight again after losing weight at the beginning, you have to feed them every 2 to 3 hours, and sometimes it's really easy to lose track of things like that. It's also easy to forget when the last time you changed them was, which is actually important because you need to make sure they're wetting a diaper every so often because you want to make sure they're hydrated. These aren't things you would think about before you're a parent, but once you are, they're vital information, and it's really easy to forget, but also really important to remember. This is the app I used. It's just called Baby Tracker Newborn Log. It just keeps track of everything I needed to know, like nursing, diaper changes, how long they slept and when the last time they slept was. If you're a mom who pumps, it keeps up with that. And there's like a premium part to it that if you want to pay for, you can look at all the charts over how long you decide to log this information for. I think we stopped after about 2 months when I kind of got the natural hang of things, of like knowing exactly when Isaac was going to do what he was going to do. But before that, like learning his patterns was really important, and this helped a lot. The first few months of Isaac's life, I spent probably 90% of my time just Googling random questions. So what becomes really important, I think, is finding an online mom group. I highly recommend checking out the Baby Bumpers subreddit, which I'll put a link to down in the description. It's how I found my community, which led me to my February Bumpers subreddit, which led me to our Facebook group, who I still keep in contact with every day. I've mentioned this before, but having other women to bounce your thoughts off of is so good for your mental health. It helped keep me sane the first few months Isaac was alive, and now we just have this sense of camaraderie. It's so much fun watching their babies grow with Isaac and watching all of them reach their milestones in their own time. And it really is helpful to realize that each baby has a different schedule of when they want to do things. So that's been a lot of fun, and I highly recommend it. Don't be a martyr and ignore your own basic needs. If you ever feel like you're close to losing it with a newborn, you're supposed to put them down in a safe space like their crib and walk away. If you need to go take a shower and cry for 10 minutes, go take a shower and cry for 10 minutes. Same with needing to use the bathroom or eating lunch or even getting a drink of water. Sometimes you'll have to put your baby down and listen to them cry for a little bit, but you have to take care of yourself. Your baby's going to cry sometimes, and that's okay. You need to be a functional mom to be a good mom. And when it all comes down to it, you need to do you and trust your instincts. Whether that's knowing you need to take your baby back from someone who he's never met before, or going off for the 10th time in one day to feed him, even though you're leaving company in your living room alone. You know what's best for you and your baby, and you really need to make sure you take care of that baby first. And if your instincts are telling you to call your pediatrician, don't feel like you're letting yourself down by calling your pediatrician. They're professionals who are meant to help you. I found it so helpful that our baby's doctor office has a warm line for 24 hours. We can talk to a pediatric nurse any hour of the night, and that has helped calm my nerves so many times. I think we used it for the first time the first night Isaac was home with us. It's overwhelming. It's really hard to be a first-time mom to a newborn. There's a community out there for you, and if you look for one, you will find one. Do you have any advice I didn't cover for new moms of newborns? Make sure you leave it in the comments below. Make sure you subscribe to our channel to become a member of the Pierce family, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.